Yes. So, all right. Anyways, I guess we can start. So I'm really happy to introduce Anna Andersone to the stage. She's an amazing social entrepreneur. I don't know how else I can call it, but she helps IT community to strive to get more female to IT world, which is amazing. So let's make a round of applause to Anna.
Thank you. All right, I must say it's quite a tricky task for me now to follow that presentation, which was super valuable and interesting. I was like catching the QR codes and looking into the links and sharing with my team already, so really cool. Thank you, Andrei. My presentation is going to be very different. So I'm here to talk about my experience and some of the learnings that I've had. I can share some tools later, but I think in the presentation I'm more about like the soft learnings. My name is Anna Andersone. I am founder and CEO of StartSchool. I will tell a little bit about StartSchool as well. And I am also CEO of Riga TechGirls, so I'm now dividing my daily time in two parts, one running StartSchool, one running Riga TechGirls. And I've co-founded and started a couple of initiatives and products before. So I'm also co-founder of Entrepreneurs for Peace, which is another NGO. So actually StartSchool and Riga TechGirls, those are NGOs. Working in the tech space and using a lot of tech and promoting tech, but not startups. But before building up these NGOs, I have co-founded two real startups. So FROONT and Berta.me, those were my first steps in the startup world. And before that, Hungry Lab Design Studio. So my background comes from business and marketing, and then design, and I will tell about my story today. So my journey in the startup world and building products started with Berta. Berta.me is still an operating product, still out there, and we started Berta back in 2008. With the Hungry Lab studio team back in that time. I don't know how many of you remember 2008. It was a long time ago. And at that time, it was still quite tricky to build a website. So in our graphic design studio, we were creating new brands and designs, and we were also building websites. But what we noticed was that a lot of our friends, and I had a lot of friends who were starting their own small businesses. My partner, he's a designer. He had a lot of friends who were designers, photographers. So they all needed a website to either sell their product or sell their service. Like if you're a photographer, you need to showcase your portfolio and so on. So we noticed this kind of open niche or opportunity that people who need a website but can't build it on their own and can't afford our services of the graphic design studio. So we created Berta, a very simple website engine. Currently, most of the people in this would use Wix or Squarespace. That time they were not there yet or not that popular yet. WordPress was there, but WordPress was very complicated at that time. So Berta was like a super simple, what you see is what you get website engine that we built essentially for our friends. And we just put it out there on the net for anyone to download and use. Yes, at that time you had to download, put on your server, and so a little bit of technical things involved anyway. And it was free. Just a couple of years later, what we noticed was that people were downloading and using our Berta app in other countries as well, like in Netherlands, in Spain. And we thought, maybe we can make some money out of this. So we created a payment platform for Berta. where you could use the same product, but if you make the website and put it on our servers or leave it on our servers, then you pay like a $4 per month hosting fee, and that's how we started making money out of Berda. And so that was my first experience with building a product that is scalable, that works on its own, and money comes into the account during the night when I sleep. Really cool feeling. So we were like, okay, this is nice. But by that time, by the time when we did that, that was already 2011, a couple of years later. And we thought, okay, Berda is doing well. It's a good business model. However, by that time, there were already a lot of other tools worldwide who developed in the same field, who had much bigger budgets, were getting into the market, growing in the market. So we thought we should create something new, something different. So very simple CMS is already out there. And that's how we created our first conscious startup. So this was unconsciously, we built a startup just seeing a kind of need in the market. And the first conscious startup that we created was called FROONT. And so FROONT, we started thinking about it in 2011, and we got really into it in 2012. And at that time, maybe you don't remember, but at that time, the first smartphones were just coming into the market, and most of the websites were built for the computer screen. So they were not responsive, so they didn't adjust to the screen you were looking at. And on mobile devices, many sites didn't work or looked horrible or were super inconvenient. And so what we set out to do is we set out to build the first responsive web design tool in the world. A tool where you can build a website and it immediately adjusts to the screen that you're opening it from. So the first responsive web design tool. And we actually managed to do that. In 2013, we launched FROONT beta version, and we were the first to launch a responsive web design tool. We followed a need, because we were in the web design field ourselves. We saw that our designers needed some tools to help them work better. And one of the hypotheses that we had was that this tool is going to help in collaboration between designers and developers. How many of you have worked together with developers and gone back and forth? You provide the design, the developers develop it, but then you see no, this has to move 2 pixels to the left, this has to be a little bit bigger. How many of you have had that? All right, so you understand the pain. And so the FROONT idea was that designers can get far enough in the design process, and it already, you design in the FROONT tool, and then you get out a ready HTML, CSS file that the developer can already see the design how it should be, and it works. But then you just, you can connect it to the backend and so on. And the hypothesis was good. And we came out in 2013, and we really hit a very nice spot. So the market was waiting for something like this. So FROONT is what we called B2P market niche, so business to professionals. It's not really B2B, but it's to professional designers. And we got actually really good traction. So in the first 2 weeks, we got more than 10,000 signups. And so we launched in May, and in the first summer we got more than 50,000 signups. So people were really waiting for a tool like this. They signed up, they came in, they started using it. But the first version was not that great. And actually that summer, 3 other tools emerged with the same kind of aim. And one of those was Webflow, for example, that now is pretty big. And so we raised altogether 500K. And we got to a bit more than 100,000 users, which in the professional space is pretty okay. I mean, in consumer space, of course, it's very small, but in professional space, it's pretty okay. And we had users from 96 different countries, most of them from the US. So we were setting off in a pretty good pace. And so the people were coming in, they were interested, but what we failed at doing is like really providing that need to come in on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. And when we introduced the paid version of the product, the first one was free, then we found it very hard to get to kind of convert our users into paying customers. So that was essentially, you know, most of the companies die because they can't get money for what they're building. So that was our story as well. We exited and sold a little bit later. Not too much profit there, but experience was really interesting. So my learning from this was that, so with Berta, what I saw is that you look for opportunities and you feel the need in the market, and that works. In this case, you can be the first mover, but that doesn't mean that you're going to win. You really have to find that way to monetize what you're building. So monetization is really, really key in product development. And if you fail to do that, you essentially fail. But I wouldn't say that FROONT was like a complete failure. It was a very good experience, and people still using it. So it's still a product that is out there. All right. So what happened? Yeah, you have a question.
Why do you think you didn't like really grow and become Webflow?
I think we just didn't have the knowledge and skills in several fields. Like one of those being sales and kind of really finding the product market fit. Another was that our main person in product development was a designer. So he always felt that the product is not ready. And we were like delaying shipping new versions all the time. And Webflow, so we raised 500K, Webflow raised a couple of millions at the same time, and they got in like tens of developers, and they moved much, much faster. So I think it's a combination of different things. But in essence, yeah, another thing is that you know, when it's going hard in the company, and we had it hard, so we raised the investment, but at some point we started running out of it, and we saw that the wall is coming. You know, we're running at a speed, and the wall is coming, and the runway will end. And that at that point, there's a lot of stress. Like you're super stressed on a daily basis. And this is when a lot of founding teams get into conflicts, and we had that as well. So we had a lot of conflicts in the founding team. And our CTO, he left at some point. He said, like, I can't do this anymore. It's like taking too much of my nerves and everything. I'm leaving. Well, obviously we had a team, so we could replace. But you know, when CTO leaves, it's a big issue. And I held on for another year, but after a year I said, I can't take it anymore either. So it's like, if you get into this stressful situation, then, and that's the second reason that startups fail, is if the founding team fights. So that we had that as well. So it's not the product, it's how you manage the people, how you manage getting in the customers, and how you monetize what you build. Yeah, so I can follow up on that. I left at some point as well. So I burned out totally. I got very ill, and I just couldn't work anymore. And it is, you know, when you are building something you're passionate about, and when you are, you know, you've attracted investment, you feel responsible to the team, to the people who are using your product, to the investors. It's a lot of strain, but you like feel like you have to go over your powers, everything. So I got to a point when I really couldn't work anymore, so I left. And after leaving, FROONT and being, with building startups for a couple of years, I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I was burned out, but I was also burnt. I was like, I don't want to hear about startups anymore. I don't want to know about the startup ecosystem. Just like, I want to live some completely different life. And another thing which I felt was that, while we were building Berta and FROONT, I got 2 daughters. So during the time that we were building FROONT, I had one 3-year-old and one that was like growing up from zero. And I felt very lonely being the only mother startup founder in Latvia at that time. And in general, in startups, there were very few women. So that's how actually RigaTechGirls started, was that I thought women should get more like-minded women around them to talk to, because obviously building a startup is a super, super stressful thing. But when you are also a mother at the same time and you have nobody who has the same situation to talk to, it's pretty lonely. So that's how the idea and that's how RigaTechGirls started. But I actually started another thing, because RigaTechGirls is an NGO, and it was from the very beginning. It was completely volunteer-based. It was not anything I thought I would build a career around or earn any money at any time. But I was thinking, so what can I do for work? And I came up with a business idea. So how many of you know what oxytocin is? Okay, so a couple of people know. So it's a hormone that we release in our bodies when we get close to people. And it's also one of the most important hormones that keep relationships alive in the long run. So as you can imagine, building a startup and having small kids, there's no time for romance or intimacy. So this is where my product idea came out of. So I thought I had a couple of those years that put a lot of strain on my relationship with my husband. So how could I, remind maybe other people to stay in connection and to support? Because there's so many people who get divorced. Like there's 50% divorce, right? And it's getting divorced. No, it's not easy actually. It is hard, but it's like sometimes it's the easy answer. But how could we work together to keep that relationship alive in the long run? And then I learned about oxytocin and that you need to have physical contact on a daily basis. And I was like, yeah, that's what I was missing. Because when I got to bed at that time, I was like, all I was thinking was like, fall asleep faster because tomorrow I have to get up at 6 o'clock and do that and that and that and that. And so I had this idea of a product that didn't exist in the world and still doesn't. So it's clothing that has secret pockets on the backside where you can reach your hand in and touch the skin. But it's like very, nobody knows that you're doing that. And the idea was that you put on these clothes and then you can get that connection wherever you are. So you don't need to be in bed to get connected. And so I did some research. There was no product like that in the world. And I started prototyping. I started researching about fabrics, and I went to some fabric exhibitions, so completely different market. It was super interesting. I put all my savings into building this, and it was very much fun. It was like, a new field, new people, getting to know new people. I had some culture shocks in the way, because coming from a technology and communications field and going into productions field, that was like a very different world. I realized that people don't like to collaborate in that world. They're not supportive of you. They're trying to not talk about their products and their ideas, and very, very different atmosphere. And production was completely, a lot of fun as well. But I went through some 25 producers, where the sewers, seamstresses are. And I had situations where I'm coming to them with a business, and I come to them, I ask them for some quotes and so on, and I call them a week later, and they're screaming at me through the phone, why are you calling us? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a very different world. And I built that product, and I ran the company for a couple of years. I'm just actually closed down the Shopify store earlier this year. What I learned from this experience was that while, also in this case, a very unique product, no competition, kind of direct, there was another thing. And I like creating new things, but in this market, in the clothing market, you have to come up with new designs like twice a year. That was not my idea of how I want to do things. I don't like fast fashion. My thought was that I will create this as a product, and then I will just do marketing, people will buy it, and I don't need to create new products all the time. But it didn't work like that. So all the e-commerce and marketing professionals that I was talking to, they were saying, no, you have to do 2 collections every year. It's like, that's the standard, people are expecting that. And I was like very much against that. The second thing was that I used ecological materials that are produced consciously, and I was trying to pay fair salaries to the people that I worked with, and the product was pretty expensive. So the production was pretty expensive, and finding that market in our part of the world was a little bit hard, but getting into European markets was kind of tricky. And then again, you go and you compete from one side with H&M in prices and the amount and everything, and on the other side Prada, but I wouldn't imagine myself becoming Prada, and so in the middle it's like very hard market. But the final thing that I realized was that for me to succeed, I would really need to invest time into digital marketing, making campaigns, hundreds of campaigns, analyzing results on a daily basis. And I just didn't like that. I just didn't want to do that. But I couldn't make enough money to pay others to do that. So I got into a point where I just realized this is not this is not where my heart is, sitting in the Meta ads table and looking at it. And to get there where others could do it for me, I would need either a lot of investment or I don't know, grind myself for a while. And as you remember from before, I was burnt, so I didn't want an investment with this. I had actually some people that I talked to were coming saying, okay, actually, so how much investment do you need to get this, to be a really successful big company? I was like, no, I'm building this one at my pace. And at some point, it really was good for me because I still had two daughters that were little. And in one point, for example, my daughter broke her leg. And I was like, okay, I have to pause my company for a little bit because I need to take care of my daughter. And another case, my other daughter, she got also health issues. And I was like, again, I have to pause. And if you don't have any employees or anything like that, you can do that. If you have a lot of investment and a team, you can't do that. So for me, it worked at that time, but yeah, not a great business success. I think I at some point calculated, I invested about, if I calculate also my time, about 250,000 into this company. Of course, I didn't get that back, but it was, again, a very interesting experience and a lot of learnings about myself, about the products, about the market, and something I can share then later with others as well. All right, so then at the same time, that was 2015, when I came to the idea of Be With, we also started RigaTechGirls. And RigaTechGirls, we started, as I said, a volunteer organization, just a couple of women. We came together, we thought we should create a community where women can get supported. And this is a picture from our first meetup. This is actually June of 2016, so 9 years ago. It was half a year later after we thought to start it, and we had no budget. everyone who participated was doing it voluntarily. We had mentors, lecturers come in as volunteers. We all did it on our free time. So it was like a real NGO beginning. And in the beginning, actually, we had CEO Alina. It's her in the picture here. And for the first 2 years, she was the CEO. She was running the company, the organization, and we were just coming in together for some meetings. But in 2018, she decided to go and live in Lithuania. So at that point, RigaTechGirls came to this kind of either we have a new CEO who can take it over, or it will collapse and that not continue. And in those first 3 years, we actually had built quite a nice community. So people were responsive. They were coming to our meetups, workshops. So it was really working nicely. But everything still like volunteer-based, run on the free time. So in 2018, I thought, I had my BWith running, and I thought, okay, I can actually maybe take on the role of CEO here, and I could devote like half of my time to RigaTechGirls. So I started devoting half of my time, and what changed was that I had time in the business hours, so I could go and meet companies and partners, and I started getting the first partner deals in. So companies are like, actually, we want to, do something together with RigaTechGirls, and here's some money. Do something, something about building our brand with women and so on. And we got the first kind of turnover coming in, so we started doing some little bit bigger projects, that was, I still didn't think it could ever become my job, but that was really nice. I could afford to pay for lunches for our mentors, and we started doing things like that. The first actually kind of big growth of RigaTechGirls, like the really exponential growth, happened in 2020 when COVID hit. Up until then, we had a couple of projects, like smaller ones, but in 2020 beginning, right before COVID, we had our first hackathon. This is a picture from the first hackathon. And first hackathon was fully funded by Latvian Investment and Development Agency. So we got in some money that we could pay actually the team that was working on the hackathon. And the community was really growing. But then, and everything up until COVID, was in person. So RigaTechGirls was an in-person community. And then in March, like everything closed down. And I thought, this is it. This is the end of RigaTechGirls. Like we've never done anything online. It's always been in person. What can we do? But then like the first shock went away. And we thought, actually, like there are now a lot of women out there who are losing their jobs because of COVID, because a lot of women worked in the service industry that was, locked down. And we thought, okay, maybe like we can help them transfer in their careers and actually see the opportunities in tech. And we built our first kind of online program, which was Iepazīsti tehnoloģijas. So this year, it's the 6th year that we are now having this program. And now we've had 35,000 people in the program over the years. Just finished it actually 2 days ago. And no, yesterday. And so we started this online program with the thought, well, we'll see how this goes. We got a little bit of funding from google.org. And what happened was that 4,600 people signed up for the program. And we were just 5 people were volunteering to build it. And it was crazy. We were like working through nights and trying to figure out how can we service these 4,600 people. But it turned out to be a great success. So people really loved our program, and this is where actually kind of really this growth came in from. So now, 5 years later, we've had in different online education programs more than 53,000 people. We have trained more than 2,500 women in coding and in transferring their careers. And we also started a startup support vertical where we've supported more than 600 startup teams in different levels like hackathons, pre-acceleration programs, mentorship programs, all kinds of things. And now, for the past 3 years, we've been also doing international projects, working together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, going and representing Latvia in other countries because of how successful we've been here in Latvia in getting women engaged. And one of the numbers that I really like is of women in startups. So I have data from 2019 that 6% of startup teams had at least one woman in the founding team. And 2024 data shows that 26.4% of startup teams of startup founders, or startup actually owners, are women. So like in 5 years there's been really great growth, and this is one of the numbers that makes me very happy. All right, so yeah, with RigaTechGirls, what I saw was that if you're doing something that is really kind of needed in the market, even if it's not business or revenue based, you can get really far. You can get people who get on board with you. You can grow financially. So with RigaTechGirls, we were growing like 3-fold every year. For an NGO, that's a pretty good thing to be. And one of the things that was really also helping us in getting this exposure is in the middle there. You can see the First Lady of Latvia, the ex-First Lady of Latvia. Currently, we don't have a First Lady, but she was our patroness all of the years that she was serving in that post. She was really vocal about us internationally and locally, and really supported us. So getting people who don't give you money but just talk about you and tell others about you, that's a really important part as well. Another initiative that I wanted to mention, and how much time do I have actually? Do I still have time? 10 minutes? Okay. Is Entrepreneurs for Peace. So this is an organization that we started together with a couple of other startup founders and people from the tech companies that we were in connection with through RigaTechGirls. Is when the war broke out, when war started in Ukraine. Actually, that was a very doomsday feeling for me. I remember that day very vividly. That day I was thinking like nothing makes sense. Whatever I'm doing now, it doesn't make sense. Training people in tech doesn't make sense. Supporting women doesn't make sense. If someone can come and just bomb you, on the next day. And so this feeling was like of desperation and depression. But the next day, so the war started on Thursday, Friday, there were a couple of entrepreneurs who were starting to chat, how can we support Ukraine in this moment? And we got first news that there was a request to get in blood transfer equipment, medical equipment. And there was someone in the entrepreneurs circle that we were chatting in who had an aunt who had a company who had this blood transfer equipment. So like on the second day, we found out the person who has that in the storage, and on the third day we shipped that equipment to Ukraine. And that felt empowering. Like one day I thought this is the end of the world, and then the third day it's like, wow, we can actually do something about it. And 2 more days later, so 5th day of the war, what we decided that we can use RigaTechGirls, which in the statutes we have one point which says that our mission is to educate women, blah blah blah, and support people in their conditions or in need. So we thought, okay, we can actually use this point and we can support Ukraine through RigaTechGirls, and we have the sabiedriskā labuma status, so companies can donate to us and get the tax refunds. So we started gathering donations from companies, And we immediately created, which was really cool, we created with the tech companies that we were together and the people who are in those companies, a team that was very lean, very agile. We had morning stand-ups every morning. We would come together, we got the newest information from the embassy of what kind of products were needed. We got in donations from companies and partners, and we were shipping a truckload of really needed stuff every week. And for the first couple of months, that was operated through RigaTechGirls, and like I told my team, sorry guys, you run the project, I need to do this now. So first month, like I of course did some of the project's work, but then in the evening I would sit on my mobile phone, sign agreements, transfer funds, like run like things like that. A couple of months later, we founded the Entrepreneurs for Peace separate foundation, which now is like running its own things. And in the website, it still says 11.6 million, but I know that it's more than 15 million the amount of support that has been provided through this private, like completely private funding. And now Entrepreneurs for Peace are working with government institutions, or like, and also rebuilding homes, rebuilding hospitals, and doing things in Ukraine. So very, very happy to see that. So again here, just seeing like a need and working to fill that need has been my lesson. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, here we are at that time president with the entrepreneurs who were starting it all. And what is interesting is that this lady is runs one PR company, and this guy one marketing company. They are like fierce competitors on a daily basis. But in this case, they came together on one team and worked together on one team. Sometimes I feel like a little bit shy. There is this like small button that I have here, and it's the I don't know how it's award from the president for supporting Ukraine. But I try to kind of put it on when I feel like it matters. And yeah, so we got the founders of Entrepreneurs for Peace, we got this award. And it's really nice to see also recognition around that. All right, and yeah, so actually, Entrepreneurs for Peace, one of the co-founders was Christoph Blaus, and you can see him here as well. So building Entrepreneurs for Peace, he realized that Anna, she knows some things. Maybe I should listen to her more. And when I came afterwards, so yeah, a year later, I came to him and I said, listen, Christoph, so what we built with Entrepreneurs for Peace is great, but we also need to build the startup ecosystem, tech ecosystem here in Latvia, and I know what we're missing. We're missing a program that is education, but not really education. It's actually giving people practical experience. Because what I saw with working with RigaTechGirls for many, many years is that we can provide education programs, but employers are not willing to employ people who don't have experience, but you can't get experience if nobody is employing you. So there's like this gap. And I found out that there's a program internationally, started in France, called School 42, that is a program where you actually gain experience. So you can come in without any knowledge, you work your way through the program and you gain experience. And I said, listen, we need to have this program here in Latvia, help me build it. And Christos was one of the first to say, okay, I think you could do that. Let's try to find the funding needed. So then we brought together James and Andris and Elina from Swisscom, and we started this thing, StartSchool, which we launched last year, and now our first cohort, first 100 people soon will be presenting their 25 companies on 12th of June. By the way, if you're interested, this is an open event, anyone can come. 12th of June at Startup House, 25 pitches. And yeah, so we came together, and for me, it took actually about a year of walking around to every person that I know in tech and pitching to them. Like, there is this program, it's internationally based, but we need to build it here in Latvia. I need that and that amount of money. Let's put our heads together and let's build that. And so with these, and yeah, well, actually then after Christoph's, he knew James. I didn't know James personally. So he knew James and he talked to James, and turned out that James actually had gone through that program in Silicon Valley in 2018 when he was starting Printify. And he was like, yeah, that program was so good. I wish like more people who are studying companies would have that knowledge. So he said, what do you need? I'm in, let's do this. And so we hear what, so Entrepreneurs for Peace and StartSchool, and also if I look back at, so Riga TechGirls was also possible because I was not alone. There were other people, in that case, other women who were interested to build it. In Entrepreneurs for Peace, it was that we came together and we all believed the same thing. And in StartSchool as well, I would never have built it on my own. I needed the team to come together. So my learning from these experiences is that you always need co-founders. You always need the people who will believe the same things that you believe in. And that's when you can really get that momentum and get the thing running. So yeah, with StartSchool, we are now forging the future tech leaders with a program from Silicon Valley and a Latvia-based startup module that where the students, they go through the technical module, they learn to code, and then they also form teams and they build their first product. For some of them, maybe it's not the first product, but they build a product, they go through all of the steps that you need to do to build a startup company. And it's possible because of all of the supporters, founders who come in and share their experience mentoring the newbies as well. And now we actually have 5 new programs that are 5 new tech curriculums. Agentic AI development program, AI applications developer, so 2 AI developer programs, and then 3 engineer programs on AI machine learning, data science, and DevOps. So these ones are actually open right now to apply for, so you can apply until the end of May, and we will have 30 free spots in these programs for the next year as well. All right, so I'm wrapping up. My main kind of learnings and takeaways from the journey in building different products and the education program. So first of all, you need to keep your eyes open for opportunities, and opportunities are out there all the time. Obviously, you need to analyze them, you need to test them, and I think what Andre was telling about, the process is how you can use AI to test the opportunities. Right now, there are wonderful options for that. The environment is changing all the time, and you have to change with it. So that's also my motto. So war breaks out. Okay, what can I do with that? I change and I adapt to that. Co-founders, super, super important. They can be your team. I mean, I call them co-founders because you need to have that initial drive to do things together. But they just like-minded people, your community that can support you. And nobody else will do it for you. You have to do it yourself. So taking initiative, you see that opportunity, you have to take that initiative, find those co-founders, talk to the people around you, and do that. Never stop learning. So this is, because I'm in education, I have to say that, but I actually really believe that. I'm learning on a daily basis. I come here, I learn from Andre, and I share that knowledge afterwards. And finally, this has taken me a long time to realize, but it's super important to find your balance. And we hear sometimes, about life-work balance and things like that. And there's no right way, there's no way that works for everyone, but you have to find your balance, the thing that works for you. Because if there's no you, there is no future, no your product, nothing. So to survive, you need to find your balance. And this is I am pretty experienced now, and I think I'm trying to get to finding my balance. But yeah, that's super, super important not to burn out, not to burn yourself, not to burn others. Find the balance that works for you. That's all from my side. Thank you.
We have 5 minutes for questions, if you have any. Yes.
I have a burning topic somehow.
All right.
How to say? I was recently discussing with a lot of foreign people with an interest to promote Latvia and the people and talents in Latvia about, okay, what are the hindering factors about Latvia? Why the startup ecosystem is not really performing in terms of money, and maybe other things are not performing. And somehow I came down to this explanation. It's like, yeah, Latvian people are creatives, they can deliver, and they're ambitious, and they're also smart. And infrastructure is good. You know, all these things are actually nice. It's like, okay, you have a kettle, you have some berries, you can create jam. So you put the kettle with the jam on the oven, it starts cooking, the Latvians are talking, celebrating, whatever they do, being creative, which is nice here, and the jam is cooking. And also the foreigners are around them, yeah, they're happy, yeah, Latvian jam and so on, all is coming up. The Latvians are still busy with themselves. And the jam is cooking. And at some point the jam is starting to burn. So the point is, how to say, a lot of business opportunities or opportunities of growth in Latvia seem to disappear just because Latvians are busy about fighting what they have here locally somehow, forgetting about there's a kettle with jam which you could take and sell buns. You know, being busy with yourself is honestly an obstacle. And the question is, how do you see, could we overcome this situation? Because opportunities here in Latvia and also the neighboring countries are, from my perspective, awesome. Yeah, but as long as you are busy with yourself, nobody takes care about you. Nobody's interested in you. How to say? And don't get me wrong, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like what recently was very often discussed with some people I met also last week at edtech atelier, where we thought, okay, yeah, nice, we would like to help, but basically they are so busy with themselves. Jam is burned. So.
All right. I think that when you say that Latvians are ambitious, I would like not be sure about that. Over the years, I also worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, not just through RigaTechGirls, but like through Latvia Investment Development Agency. They had these incubators all over Latvia. So for 4 years, I was like driving all around Latvia and working with other entrepreneurs. So what I saw a lot is that lack of ambition. And maybe that is what you are saying, like this busy with themselves. That a lot of the entrepreneurs who have actually great ideas, they don't believe that they can make it outside of Latvia, or that they are afraid to even try, to even think about it. And I know there's one great example where that was overcome is Anton Sapriko. He is the ScandiWeb company that is like turning millions now. And his story was also that at first he was like doing, some small project, didn't go outside, and then he just started like working outside. I'm sure we have wonderful examples also from Chile Labs, and so if you get that ambition and courage to go outside and to work internationally, that's when it breaks. But really, very many Latvians are afraid and. They don't see the opportunity there. I would say that is one of the hindering factors that might look like that's busy with themselves, but they just like, I'd rather do my small thing and not risk it, and not get out.
Okay. We have one more question. Yes.
Okay, I think I will have a small one. I was just curious when you were telling this story. I was expecting that you would tell about Shigo's tech project you had together with Accenture.
Yeah.
I was curious, and I thought, oh, this StartSchool is something not like similar, but yes, they also is coding and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, yeah, what's happened with your partnership with Accenture?
Yeah. Well, Accenture and Shigo's Tech was actually one of the breaking points even before COVID, where we started like having great partnership. and super grateful to Accenture for those 5 years that we worked together. What happened with Accenture and She Goes Tech was that, so She Goes Tech was a special boot camp that we created together with Accenture where women would learn coding. And then if they go through the whole boot camp, then they can either go into other boot camps in Accenture, or they can, some of the women could start working at Accenture. We trained through She Goes Tech more than 1,200 women. I think like half of our professional training is through She Goes Tech. And what happened was that in those 5 years, Accenture started getting the same, like half and half women and men applications to their regular bootcamps. So She Goes Tech was no longer needed. In 5 years, and this was like a real great result. In 5 years, we managed to raise the awareness of bootcamps and Accenture and this possibility for changing career to enough women that they no longer needed a special bootcamp for women.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that was the great result.
Okay, Anna, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Something sweet for you as well as a small present there.
Thank you.
I will
Thank
guide
you.
you through later on.
Okay.
But yeah, huge pleasure for everyone. Thank you. Huge pleasure to have all of you here. I think that summer we will skip because it will be quite hard to make all of you come here. So I think that the next one will be in September, but let's stay in touch through LinkedIn. I think I have one more slide, I guess. Yeah, is that? Yeah. So please follow us on LinkedIn because this is our main channel, how we share our news, also Instagram and Facebook, but LinkedIn is, you know, it's for sure there. And also, as Anna mentioned, Anton Sabriko, which was our speaker last time. So if you know someone who is a great speaker and who wants to share their story, we would love your recommendations, and we will chase them and we will try to get them, as we chased Andrei for multiple months just to get him here, but we managed. So thank you for that. And yeah. If you have a feedback, leave it to us, and we will try to improve. So, thanks to all of you. Please do network and yeah, have fun. Thank you.